This is just something that I want you to know, but I'm not discussing it further. Okay, so this is multi-criteria. As I said, multi-criteria can be resolved with a combination of objectives and embedded into robust decision making. Now, AHP. AHP, the concept is what we know, to subdivide a complex decision into a sequence of sub-decisions which are individually easier to take. Okay? And how to resolve, how to subdivide these complex decisions. Very often, let me make an example. It's easier. To make an example is easier, and also you know the example because it's very similar. What I'm showing is very similar to what we did. So let me make an example of choosing a solution for increasing water resources availability. And let's suppose that we have three solutions: building a dam, reducing losses, or precise irrigation. Take into account that you may say reducing losses doesn't increase water resources availability. But I could reply, yes, it increases it, because if you look at the water resources availability at the user, if you reduce losses during the supply of water, of course the users get more water. So this is indeed a possible solution. Okay, so here is how I structure my decision. This is the hierarchy. And this is a particularly simple case where at the top of the hierarchy we have the goal, increase water resources. And then in the middle layer we have the criterion weights. So in this case, the solution, the decision is decomposed into several criteria. So I decide first on the net benefit, and but I need to give a weight. I'm sorry that you can't see clearly here, but this is weight W1, and I need to evaluate the net benefit for each solution, N1, N2, N3. N is the net benefit, and I evaluate it for each solution. Then environmental impact may be a second metric to be quantified in some way. And then impact on flow regime to be quantified in some way. And then CO2 emissions, because whatever intervention you make, you give rise to an emission, an increased emission of CO2, and therefore this may be a target to minimize. Okay, then we need to evaluate the weights of these criteria. And once that weights are known, we can combine the benefit of each solution through the weight, and so we can combine the score for the dam, the score for reducing losses, and the score for precise irrigation. What we need here is to determine the weights, and you know that we can use pairwise comparison. And here is, in the lecture, a summary I brought into the lecture, a summary of how pairwise comparison is computed. Here there is the scale of the preferences, as you know, and here we have an example of a matrix to determine, in this case, not the weight to be given to each criteria. In this case, the matrix evaluates in terms of net benefit, according therefore to a given criteria, evaluates our preference of one solution with respect to another. This is different with respect to what we did because we evaluated the utility of each solution through utility functions. In this case, the utility of each solution is evaluated through pairwise comparison, and this is a possibility. So this is the matrix, and this is how to compute the consistency, and this is the table of the coefficient to compute the consistency ratio. And then, of course, there is it's written here, a pairwise comparison needs to be carried out in order to assign the weights to the criteria. In this case, the matrix will have dimension n equal 4. And this is what we did in our exercise. Okay, so in this case, you see that we combine 4 criteria into one aggregated score. So this is, first of all, an example of how pairwise comparison can allow us in a multi-criteria decision to combine the different criteria. Still, we are into an optimization context. Now, we will see how this can be included into robust decision making or into decision scaling, which is quite intuitive, but let's take a break now and discuss it later. I am almost at the end of my discussion. In the next hour, I would like to, before making an attempt to opening a question and answer session, and I really would like to stimulate you to asking questions to me. In the first 15 minutes, I want to conclude this treatment, and then I will keep half an hour for this question and answer. And I told you that I would like to bring you to the bar to take a coffee later. So if you can wait to take your coffee, I will appreciate it. Otherwise, the coffee in the morning may be too much. Okay? I leave everything here. I'll be back.